Welcome to the Whiskey Vault. I'm Daniel Whittington, and I've got a guest. Today is whiskey conversations, because whiskey.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm here with Carl from Ardnamurchan. We're going to start differently, because when someone comes in and they work for a brand, we have to make them drink something that's not their brand.
I love it.
Is that fair?
Absolutely.
And so what we picked is something you chose, which is Elijah Craig. This is a small batch. It's not the 12.
Yep.
Tell me why you chose this one.
Yeah, so this was one of the drams that kind of got me hooked on whiskey pretty early on. I was probably, 18 or 19.
Is this East Coast?
Yeah, East Coast, absolutely.
Cheers to you, sir.
That's still good.
Yeah.
But back when they did 12-year as sort of their core line.
Right.
It was a bourbon I really enjoyed. It was affordable. I didn't have a ton of money.
Well, it's good.
And it's
that
good.
Helps.
Yeah. So it was one of those things that got me into bourbon, and then subsequently into Scotch whiskey, and now we're here. Right?
Yeah.
So
that was a very short trip.
Yeah.
You worked in beer for a long time first, right? Beer. Server, waiter, did all the bartending,
did
everything.
Yeah. Worked retail and ended up managing a beer-focused bar in Washington D.C. and then brewery in Seattle, and importing and distributing and all sorts of stuff. So and then beer. I was always kind of I guess a booze hound, right? I loved all sorts of tasty things.
So just exploring.
Yeah, but beer at the time was really taking off, and then I really turned to whiskey and spirits in general, but whiskey in particular. And
while in Seattle, is that when the shift changed to I think I'm going to focus on whiskey?
The professional shift probably didn't happen until back in Boston. So I moved back to Boston.
Right.
And then, switched gears, ended up working for Scottish government as a trade specialist.
All right.
And then you're sort of mostly bound by what I'm trying to help export to
North
America, which is mostly whiskey and gin, right?
Right.
A little bit of beer, but and that sort of...
So you were their boots on the ground in Boston.
Yeah.
Right.
So that was it. And then I obviously always had... I had been drinking the stuff, but then it was my job again to learn about it and get into it again. And
what's the whiskey scene in Boston like?
Funny. I mean, there isn't like an epic whiskey bar in DC you've got Jack Rose, which I went to all too many times working in the industry and going there late night or after a long shift. It wasn't so far from my apartment, so that was a dangerous place.
Yeah, it's a good way to spend all your money.
It's all gone. But they did take good care, right? It's the industry, so that's always a nice thing. But Boston was great in many respects, but it was also COVID for a stretch there. Eventually, so
I keep forgetting that it happened. But it feels like when someone says, then COVID, I always feel like that's an ancient memory.
Yes.
Or it feels like it was last year.
Yeah.
It's one or the other. It doesn't feel like there's enough time has happened since COVID for someone to have a COVID memory and then a whole new career.
Yeah, I know. And then, that distance between fall of 2020 when we just weren't moving.
Right.
And now it's almost 6 years later. It's insane, right?
So you get into your work with the Scottish government. What connects you to the independent bottlers and to Delphi?
Just passion.
Okay.
And also with that role, we've got a Lefroy mat on the table here. Most of my role, the bigger companies have people that they pay to do what I did as sort of effectively a tax resource, right?
Right.
So I was predominantly working with small and medium-sized companies in that role. So it's not to say that we didn't work with Beam Suntory, Diageo here and there, but it was often Adelphi and Ardnamurchan, who at the time, Ardnamurchan launched in 2020.
Right.
So it was which is quite a business decision there. Global pandemic. Here's our single malt.
Yeah.
No. So it was often that size of thing. Ben Rome at Gordon MacPhail, similar thing of that scope where they liked having the conversation about how do we grow in this sub-region. Why is Alberta so much better than British Columbia? Things like that. Where that assistance hopefully proved useful.
Yeah. Well, and just to clarify, Adelphi is an independent bottler connected with Charles McLean, right?
Yeah.
And you were even on the blending.
I am.
Got involved in the blending.
Yeah.
Did you? So I feel like I'm enjoying this, but and just for context for anybody who wonders, we met because Caitlin introduced us, so you guys will meet later. You're coming in specifically for Ardnamurchan this round, which is connected to Adelphi and Charles McLean originally.
Yeah.
And but you came through Scottish industry.
Yep.
Realized you like Scotch. And then how did you go from like I'm helping rep a brand to I'm gonna help make products?
That's just me being fortunate.
Was that was that before you moved over there?
No.
Okay.
No.
So when did you officially move to Scotland?
I moved in May of 2023.
Okay.
So it's only been just under 3 years.
Yeah. So you haven't lost your American accent yet.
No,
so,
no. I have I'll say we every now and again. Yeah. Certain little things.
Chuffed.
Yeah, chuffed. Absolutely. But yeah, no. So it's really a testament to, in my opinion, to my boss, to our managing director, Alex, who's a master of the Quake. He's really a legend in the industry at this point, as is Charlie, of course.
Right.
So Charlie and Alex have been working together since the 90s, or known each other since the 90s. Alex came on in 2004.
Okay.
And that's, Adelphi, Ardnamurchan was more or less Alex's idea to sort of get a source of liquid, right? As casks started to dry up and or price just
Such
went
a great
insane,
idea.
right? Yeah, Charlie has been an integral part of what we do for a long time, but Alex is the guy who could be master blender.
Right.
And instead, his mindset, the way I like to phrase it is, I hired you because you're passionate.
Right.
Why would I not incorporate you into the process?
Right.
So there's 6 of us. So if basically I had to earn it, like it wasn't immediately when I moved into the team. But by and large now, if you're in global sales and marketing, you are on the blending team.
You contribute.
So there's 6 of us.
That's cool.
And so that means
I'm always preaching team blending.
Yeah,
always.
Yeah.
Because we've all got our blind spots and we've all got our strengths.
Exactly. And good days and bad days.
Yeah.
Right? Like our palates are not perfect.
Yeah.
And we're a small, lean team. So if I'm over here talking to you and we need to blend something back in Scotland, there might still be 3 or 4 of us that can do it.
I don't think I knew that Adelphi was really like the business model to bring in this is what I'm hearing, maybe I'm wrong. It's a business model to bring in income while developing Ardnamurchan's original stuff, or was it just both?
No,
what order did that come out in?
So Adelphi, it's a 200-year-old brand.
Right.
So it goes back to 1826.
Right.
In 93, it started as an independent bottler.
Okay.
So Jamie Walker is
I remember it was the distillery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So it was a distillery back exactly in the 19th century, Adelphi Lochcatron in Glasgow.
Right.
That sort of, it eventually got bought by DCL, I believe. Of
course it did.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Name who
a
else?
Small mom and pop shop.
Yes, exactly.
Known as Diageo.
So that went under in 1970. So it saw, it had the ups and downs of our industry. Right. But then the great grandson, I believe, of the gentleman who really brought it into being, which is Archibald Walker in the 1860s.
All those Walkers, they're everywhere.
Yeah, exactly. So he basically found the brand existed, converted it into an independent bottler.
Okay.
And then he sold in 2003, and Alex was hired. And that's when Adelphi kind of became a company that actually, when we bottle 80, 100 casks as opposed to a little bit more of a small output. And then Ardnamurchan.
That's why I see it everywhere. That's one of the, if you're in the areas that pull in independent bottlings, you see Adelphi a lot.
Yeah.
It's just always such higher quality stuff. Not that it's not all good whiskey, but it feels like really premium, really focused, really this is special, and not just here's a cool single barrel.
Yeah. The reason it's called Adelphi Selection is that we are pretty selective about what we buy.
Right.
Right. So that's not better or worse. It's just we don't buy a lot and then re-rack into various things.
Right.
We like to find casks that we love.
Right.
And that when we try the liquid from a sample, we're like, oh, okay,
It's closer to the original SMWS vibe.
Yeah, exactly.
Speaking of, you did come here to talk about your whiskey too.
Oh no!
But I wanted to drink Ardnamurchan. Yeah. And so I'm going to have you pour this one.
Cool, yeah.
Because no one ever pours for me at this bar.
Gladly, man.
Yeah.
Gladly, yeah.
And then Ardnamurchan comes up. What in God's name got in someone's head that they're like, I have a really successful independent bottling company. You know what I think I should do? Start a distillery.
Yeah.
That just a money, time, suck, and
yeah.
Why?
You should share a bottle of wine with Alex, and he'll give you. But effectively, it was kind of what I alluded to. Oh, Saint
Yeah, cheers.
Get in there.
I want to. Oh God,
It's what I alluded to, which is the access for Adelphi was becoming either ungodly expensive or harder to get.
And so, like,
it's like, how do we stay versatile, stay nimble as a company, when we can't, 15 years ago, you could just buy casks of Macallan and Ardbeg and things like that and sell them for an affordable price. That is no longer, right? So now instead, and interestingly, that's maybe not to that degree, but it's coming back around.
It is, America, it's getting insane. When I started our distillery at Crowded Barrel, our first casks from MGP were like $1,000 for a 2-year-old. By the time I left Crowded Barrel, they were like, they wanted $3,000 for a 2 or 3-year-old barrel. And right now they're going for like $500. And I'm like, oh, that's bad timing.
So that's basically
So you started your own. West Coast. West. Almost an island.
As west can be, more or less.
So just north of like Tobermory, right?
Precisely.
Legend,
Precisely, So Ardnamurchan is a peninsula, and it is, if you go to the end of our road, which is a single track road, it is remarkably remote. You hit the Ardnamurchan Lighthouse, which we give a subtle nod to on our labels. It's a little design there.
Nice.
But that is the westernmost point of the British mainland. So you hit the Outer Hebrides and then you hit Canada, and that's about where you're at, right? We make what we think is a Western West Coast style single malt at Ardnamurchan. So we make unpeated and peated distillate. We tend to incorporate them both. So this.
I was gonna say I smell a hint of, but not strong.
But we're not trying to do this Lefroy thing, right? Like,
but it's really like super honey drizzled pear and peach too.
Love that. Great.
It's beautiful.
Little salinity, little fruit, touch of smoke. We want this to be balanced, and this is our new 10-year-old. So the reason I wanted to bring this is just, it's exciting to walk into a room of incredible whiskey, and someone who's been in the industry for a long time. As a young distillery, at least with that side of our company, getting to double digits in single malt is a pretty exciting,
pretty cool,
pretty exciting threshold to break. So this is now in our range, and this is, it's 50-50 of those two distillates, so unpeated and peated. It's predominantly bourbon, so we want that distillate to shine. And we keep our whiskeys affordable, so hopefully people can buy them and drink them and share them, right?
Normally I don't bring in someone to talk about their whiskey and be like, you're so amazing, your whiskey's so great. But I liked Ardnamurchan the moment I first tried it. And I've been bringing it into the vault on purpose and making our songs like, you guys gotta try this. And then Caitlin started repping with Impex, and I was like, ooh, insider access to Ardnamurchan. I'm all good with that. But I'm really grateful for this. This is really delicious stuff.
Good.
What barley are you guys using? You're just kind of using the standard?
Typically the standard rotational, so it'll be Concerto, Laureate, Sassy, whatever is kind of peaking in the industry at the time, right? But as an interesting side note, we do a couple weeks a year of Golden Promise.
I was going to ask.
So we just released, the first batch isn't coming to the States. Hopefully the second batch will be. But we started a heritage barley release. So that since 2018, we've been doing just a couple weeks of GP of Golden Promise. And we've also toyed around with others, Chevalier. So the idea of the heritage barley name is it'll be Golden Promise for the first few years, more than likely.
I'm excited about
Although
that one.
Alex has things up his sleeve that I might know about, not know about. But I think it will be Golden Promise for the first couple. But then we can do Chevalier, we can do Plumage Archer, we can do all these other Marisol or whatever it is.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear anything you just said.
Good. That's the effect we're looking for.
Well, because Balcones in Waco my wife is a blender at Balcones, but I've known them since like a few years after they opened. And one of the things they specifically did was they were trying to make a single malt that was, and everything they loved about single malts before there was such a thing as single malt in America. Really, there's like 3 distilleries doing it at the time. And they went and looking at all of the malts that they loved from the history. And they discovered that all these like 1960s, 70s malts was their home. And that was the golden era for them, for what they loved. And they went to go try to figure out what was it that people were doing in the 1960s, 70s, and it was almost all Golden Promise. And so they specifically do, now they do Texas malt too, but the majority of Balcones is Golden Promise. And he said that's where they're getting all those super fruit. It's a little less yieldy, but it's super fruit and super rich. And
I think it's there's a viscosity to it too.
Yeah.
There's a texture that, so we have a pretty oily distillate to begin with, and the Golden Promise just bumps it up a notch or two.
Right.
But yeah, absolutely. I mean, those famous. Don't quote me on this, right?
Yeah.
But like those famous 1970s Macallans and Bowmores.
Oh yeah.
Pretty sure those were Golden Promise.
It's very possible. We have a 1960s Johnny Walker Red.
Yeah.
And it's one of the best blended scotches I've ever had in my life.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, oh, that's why the grandfathers in our world were like, well, Johnny Walker Red was good enough for me. Yeah. It's like, yeah, but you were drinking
it's like 50% malt back then.
Yeah. And it was Golden Promise, and it's freaking amazing. And now it's not like that anymore. It's not bad, but it's like, they're not the same. These are not the same.
No.
Yeah.
No. Even if you get like old blends or old single malts on auction now, it's pretty evident that like there were things that were different, right?
Yeah.
Whether it was the barley or what have you.
Well, this is really cool.
Yeah.
So you're now on the blending team, you're sales repping, you're cruising. They keep sending you back to America because you have an American accent? Is that what it is?
Yeah, exactly.
And you know the vibe?
No, actually, it's funny you say that. I have covered the States for the last couple of years since I joined, but we do like to actually rotate and get a fresh face every now and again.
Right.
So one of my colleagues, Graham, has never been to the States, and I really want to get him here because I think he'll love it. And then he has a bunch of markets that I haven't spent much time in.
Right.
So we actually do like to do that, but at the same time, when I'm day in, day out working with Impacts and understand the lay of the land and the 50 states and control states and all that.
Yeah.
Yay. Yay, control states. Hooray.
Go team.
Thank you so much for that. Prohibition for the win.
How have you ever, this is a question that we can cut if we need to, but it makes me laugh.
That's quite a preface.
Yeah. Have you ever been at the distillery and a bunch of American tourists come in and they're excited to meet you, and then you start talking and they realize they're not Scottish and you sense disappointment?
It's literally every tasting I do.
I thought we had a...
they're waiting for the brogue.
Right.
And then out comes a New Hampshire boy.
Slightly East Coast,
What on earth happened here?
Yeah, this isn't fun anymore. At least pretend.
Yeah. But they definitely don't want that. I'm not great at impressions. So.
Yeah.
That's another asset to rotating in my collegues, right?
Right.
It's like a Scottish guy from Inverness is a little bit more of that authentic thing.
Yeah. We did. I was one of my friends. Industry friend. We're not buds, but like Alex at Teeling, right? I always joke that every time he shows me, like, and our master distiller is Alex, and he starts talking. He's like, it's a Portland boy. I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, that's not right. Where's your Irish accent?
I do get a weird sense of joy from like seeing the look happen at the front, and then most of the time I win them back. Like, I do because I blend and because we're so intimately involved in the production. Like that gives us that extra something to say.
Right.
I helped put this whiskey in the glass.
Yeah, that's a whole different ballgame. It's not like you just were a hired gun.
And so you do win them. Yeah, like I've been to the distillery twice. Like, I go like 60 days a year.
Right.
Like
where you're like, you can just play your cards and be like, look, Americans, you too, if you play your cards right, can move to Scotland and work at a distillery.
Yeah. Get very fortunate. Work hard, get very fortunate.
Yeah.
And
have good bosses.
That, exactly.
Well, cool, man. Thanks for taking the time to hang out with you.
Absolutely.
We'll have to do it again.
Yeah, this is brilliant.
Cheers to you.
Thank you for having me.
And to you. We're really glad you're here. If you, like a non-Scottish person promoting Scotch and a Texan talking about Scotch, you are on the right place, my friends. You should like and subscribe. Get more of it.